Hello students, once again welcome back to the e-learning lectures. In this lecture I will be initiating a new topic which is also a very important topic in grammar. Every English reader, listener should learn about in order to improve English, and it is nothing else but sentences. As you can see on the board, I have written sentences and kinds of sentences. Although being a very common topic, still many a time students make errors. Not only that, we are going to learn something more about the kinds of sentences with regards to its formation, also about the different types of formation, the negative sentences, etc. So without further ado, let me quickly jump into the identification of different sentences by putting up some statements, some sentences on board, which you will be able to identify at a glance what kind of sentences they are. Let me take up a theme, say party, and with regards to a party, I will be writing sentences. So have a look at all these 5 types of group of words which are very meaningful, so-called sentences, and try to analyze what they are, what type of sentences they are. Have a careful look. Say someone trying to say, stop talking about parties. Well, someone is having a discussion about parties, and here someone says, stop talking about parties. Okay? Try to formulate the kind of sentence in your understanding. I will come to the discussion in a few minutes. Then someone saying about the party, did you enjoy the party? Did you enjoy the party? Then I write on the board, what a wonderful party. So everywhere the theme is sentences spoken about or discussing about party. Another person saying, it was a wonderful party. Finally, the 5th sentence that I would like to write on the board, please don't talk about the party. I missed it. So you see, all the group of words that I have written on the board, they all carry different thoughts and different ideas into it. They are not the same. If you have had a careful look while I was writing, and if you have analyzed the thing in your mind with your understanding, you will find that all these words, although they are talking about the party, something, but they are not having the same kind of sense inside or the same idea behind it. They are not expressing the same idea. All these sentences are expressing something different. Now let's understand. Stop talking about the party. When I say it like that, I am saying in an angry mood, or I am trying to command something. I am trying to say in a forcible manner. Therefore, this kind of sentence would be considered as a command, and command falls into the category of imperative sentences. Okay. So when you write commands like this, you will say they are imperative sentences, for which we require an ending. If you have observed, I have not put any punctuation marks, which are very important in a sentence. we talk about sentences, a sentence is a group of words which makes complete sense. If it is not sensible, then it's not a sentence. And we learned that a sentence always begins with a capital letter. Even we learned in the lower classes or in the other classes that we should be having a punctuation mark, which is very important after every sentence, at the end of every sentence, without which the sentence is incomplete. So here, stop talking about the parties. I need a full stop. Desperately need a full stop in order to complete the meaning of the sentence. So this becomes a command type of a sentence. A command, or I can just say C, identified by the C, a C sentence, that is a command sentence. If I have to write an initial for that, I would write C. So that it symbolizes a command. Did you enjoy the party? Is this sentence sounding the same like the previous one? No, it is not sounding the same like the previous one. It has a different idea altogether inside it. It is trying to ask something. Therefore, it becomes an interrogative sentence. So it's asking something. Therefore, did you enjoy the party? Someone is asking you something. Therefore, I require not a full stop, but I require another punctuation mark, that is a question mark, in order to make my meaning very, very clear with these words. Did you enjoy the party? So this becomes a question asking. A question asking, I can just symbolize that with a Q. So it's a question, or in other words, an interrogative sentence. Yes. The third one, what a wonderful party. Is this like the previous two? Not really. I am saying, what a wonderful party. I am trying to express a feeling over here, a feeling of wonderment, surprising. What a wonderful party. Maybe I experienced the party and it was too good. So I will say to someone, what a wonderful party. So when I want to express this feeling over here, feeling of excitement and wonderment, so I have to use an exclamation mark and saying it to be an exclamatory sentence or an exclamation symbolized by the capital letter or the bold type of letter E, which will symbolize exclamation. This is one type of sentence. Getting along with the next one, you will find the word wonderful again, just like you found the wonderful in the previous sentence. So does this word make the two types of sentences the same? Let's see. It was a wonderful party. Is it exclamation? Is it showing the feeling of wonderment just because the word wonderful is written over there? No, not at all. Just because the word wonderful is inside it, it does not become an exclamation. You got to understand the body of the whole sentence in order to bring out the type of sentence or the kind of sentence. Here in this sentence, only something is being stated or being told to us that yes, the party was wonderful. So it was a wonderful party. Is just declaring something, making a statement. Hence, therefore, this is a statement type, or we can say a declarative, or just a general statement told to us, or we can say statement, which requires just a full stop to finish itself. We only need a full stop to complete a declarative or a statement type of a sentence. It can only a full stop. So we'll write over here statement and symbolize it with the letter S. The fifth one, please don't talk about the party. I missed it. See? What do you see? The sentence starting with the word please. Please don't talk about the party. I missed it. Is the fifth sentence like the other four sentences? Or any of the four sentences? No. It is not like any of the four sentences above. It is completely new type of a sentence where you will find the word please. When you use the word please, you know very well. we are making a request to someone. Yes, you get it right. Please don't talk about the party. I missed it. But once again, we will be using no other punctuation but just like we use in the command and we use in the declarative or the statement type of a sentence. We'll just apply a full stop to complete it. That's the need. But it has got a different feeling inside, a different kind of an expression inside it. That is the word please, making a request over here. Therefore, we will categorize this as request. It is a request and symbolized with a capital R. So it is a request over here. So with the help of these 5 sentences, you must have just sparked the understanding of kinds of sentences. 2. So all these 5 sentences give us a direct understanding about the different kinds of sentences that can be used in English language to express different meanings, different ideas. Yes, once again I would like to tell you that all sentences begin with a capital letter. Make sure you don't make this error time and then. Statements and commands and requests, they end with a full stop, whereas questions end with a question mark and exclamations end with an exclamatory sentences end with an exclamation mark, or exclamations end with an exclamation mark. Okay. To understand this better, let us see a very short exercise which will help you to identify these marks. Have a look at this first of all. Command symbolizing C, question Q, exclamation E, statement S, and request R. Now, in the upcoming set of sentences, try to apply these letters, these initials in the given examples. So you will have to use and mark each sentence either with an S for a statement, E for an exclamation, Q for a question, C for a command, and R for a request. So we have got 5 different types of sentences that can be written in English. It could be a statement, an exclamation, a question, a command, or a request, where command and request fall into the category of imperative sentences. Okay, let's take the first example, the first sentence to practice. What a piece of work that man is. What do you find in this sentence? Does this group of sentences give you an idea of a statement, an exclamation, question, command, request, whatever it is? Take a moment's time before I give you the answer. What a piece of work, starting with the word what. So a question word, what? Yes, what has, when it is starting with the word what, it has to be a question. But stop over here. It is not a question. What a piece of work that man is. Here we are trying to exclaim the quality of a man that is being shown by saying what a piece of work that man is. Someone is so good, God has made him so good, that we're trying to exclaim something, we're trying to express the goodness of that man, his appearance, his beauty. What a piece of work that man is. Therefore, this is going to be an exclamatory sentence or an exclamation. Therefore, we will apply the letter E in order to express the kind of sentence that we have seen in the first one. So what a piece, and what kind of an punctuation we need to add over here? We need to add a punctuation as well because it's missing over here. What a piece of work that man is. We will apply an exclamation mark in order to complete our sentence. Let's take the next one. The second one. Who will show me the way? Who will show me the way? Analyzing this sentence, we'll get to know it is beginning with a question word, who. So, who will show me the way? Simple. A question is being asked, we're asking something. Somebody is asking to show the way or the path. So, eventually we will put a question mark over here in order to complete the idea of the sentence and mark it as Q, because it is a question and interrogative statement or interrogative sentence. The next one, don't go too near, don't go too near the cages. What do you see over here? Don't go too near the cages. Having read this sentence gives you an idea in your mind that someone is giving you some advice. Yes? But we do not have the word please or any requesting words over here. So, please don't go too near the cages. So we can say it could be a request, but we do not have that word over here. So a command is being given, don't go too near the cages. When someone is worried about you, when you are at the zoo or somewhere, someone may give you, don't go too near the cages, a command given. Therefore, an order given over here, it will be symbolizing a command. We need to put a full stop at the end to complete the sentence. Therefore, this sentence is nothing but a command. The fourth one. No man is an island. No man is an island. Okay? No man is perfect. No man is an island. So here you see a simple thing which is just being told to us. It is just being declared. It has been stated that no man is an island. Okay? Here we are not being requested something. Neither do we have a question word over here. Nor do we have any command or anything being expressed as an excitement or a wonderment. Just a simple thing is being said. No man is an island. About a quality of human being is being showed. No man is an island. So, it is nothing but simply a statement for which we require it to end with a full stop. Therefore, fourth one is a statement. Let's see the other examples. The fifth one. Please allow me to pass. Please allow me to pass. Yes. Unlike the fourth one, unlike the third one, we have got a word over here that is please, which gives us a clear idea the sentence is going to be a request. Very good. Please allow me to pass. Please is a request making word. Therefore, this being a request and imperative sentence, we got to add a full stop to the end of this sentence. So in order to make it a complete one, and you will write a capital R to symbolize that it is a request. Remember, request and command both fall in the category of imperative sentences. Request, command, advice, suggestion, all are imperative sentences. Let me take the next example. The sixth one, let me never catch you telling lies. So here, try to understand the idea behind it given in the sentence. Let me never catch you telling lies. Someone is shouting at someone and saying, let me never catch you telling lies. It means someone has been caught or has been suspected of being telling lies. Therefore, the sentence is being said, let me never catch you telling lies. So what is the idea expressed in this sentence? It is a clear understanding that we have it as a command. Someone is commanding someone that he should never be caught being telling lies. Let me never catch you telling lies. Okay? A simple command is being given over here. So we require a full stop at the end of this group of words to make it a complete sentence. Okay, let's take the seventh one. Please help me to carry this box. Please help me to carry this box. Again, you find the word please, which clearly indicates it is a request. So we will write R and put a full stop at the end in order to complete and clear its meaning. Number 8. She looked beautiful in her wedding dress. Yes? Have a look at this. She looked beautiful in her wedding dress. Does it give you an idea of exclamation, question, command, request, statement? What does it give you? Okay? When you carefully read this one, you will be able to easily find out that these words are not putting any kind of idea about any of the others except the word statement. A simple statement is being made over here. A declaration, an information is being given to us that she looked beautiful in her wedding dress. So simply we are going to put a full stop and finally write a statement over here to complete our sentence. The ninth one. Did she look beautiful in her wedding dress? Now have a look at this sentence. We just had a similar kind of sentence over here, similar looking sentence over here. If you have seen it, if you've observed it, a similar kind of sentence we just saw. Did she look beautiful in her wedding dress? What idea does it give you? Does it give you an idea of statement? Really? Not really. The word did, which is a question asking word, where we will be getting the answer in yes or no. Yes or no. A yes-no question we can say. Did she look, an auxiliary verb over here. So did she look beautiful in her wedding dress? We are tending to ask a question. We are intending to ask a question. Therefore, this becomes an exclamatory sentence. Although we do not have the word what, how or any WH word which asks question, we have did. So it is a yes no type question. So we require a question mark. It's an interrogative sentence where did she look beautiful in her wedding dress is unlike the previous one. Therefore we'll write a question Q over here. The 10th one. how beautiful she looked, how beautiful she looked in her wedding dress. So once again you see a similar sounding or a sentence with similar words we have 8, 9 and 10. Just compare these three sentences. She looked beautiful in her wedding dress statement. Did she look beautiful in her wedding dress? A question is being asked. But in the 10th one, we can see how beautiful. Okay, so we have the word how. So once again question mark. Really? I don't think so. It is not a question mark. Although the word how has been used, it is used to express a surprise or a wonderment over here in order to enhance or show someone's beauty over here. Therefore, it is here to express an idea over here, a feeling over here. Okay? Sudden strong feeling. How beautiful she looked in her wedding dress does not ask a question. Perhaps it gives us a feeling of wonderment, surprise or a feeling. Therefore, we require an exclamation mark after in the end over here, after the last word. How beautiful she looked in her wedding dress, telling it to be an exclamatory sentence. So, this was the last sentence in this exercise. So, I hope with the help of these 10 sentences, it would have been very clear to you the difference between a statement, a command, a request, an exclamation or a question. Okay, let's proceed with the next thing that we need to learn in this session is about the command type of sentence and request type of sentences. In request, we usually use the word please. Request can be written in the beginning with please. Please let me in, please let me ride your bicycle, please do not disturb the patient, and so on. But the very same request can also be often used as polite questions. How? Let us see with some examples. So, here is the first example where we can say request, request often takes the form of a polite question. How? Let us see. A polite question. For example, if I write like this, will you please post this letter for me? Please post this letter for me. Now you find in this a question being asked, but the question is not simply being asked by saying, please post this letter for me. It is not just a request. It is being asked with a question. Will you please post this letter for me? A question is being asked along with a request. Therefore, when a question along with a request is being asked, we call it as polite questions. And polite questions. So let's see some more polite questions of the similar type with the modal auxiliary verbs, and have a look. Will is a modal auxiliary verb. We can have many more such modal auxiliary verbs in order to write polite questions. Will you lend me your camera? Will you lend me your camera for a day? So what are you doing? You are asking something in a very polite requesting manner. So a request and a question together makes a polite question. Will you lend me your camera for a day? In this sentence, you don't find the word please. Still, you can see the simplicity that is being asked over here in a very polite way. So this turns out to become a polite question. Let's take another modal auxiliary verb, just like will. A very common one, which is in practice, which is in use. May I come in, please? Yes, you must have used this hundreds of times. May I come in, please? You ask a question, but what do you ask a question? Not in a rude manner, in a very polite way, using the modal auxiliary verb may. May I come in, please? So this turns out to become a polite question. One more example with a different modal auxiliary verb. Can I speak to you for a few minutes? Can I speak to you for a few minutes? Another question being asked without the use of the word please, but yes, can I please speak to you for a minute also can be added to it to make it more politer. So, can I speak to you for a minute? Turns out to become a polite question. We can use the past of can too. Could you tell me the way to the station? Could you tell me the way to the station? Using the modal auxiliary verb could. Then, using another modal auxiliary verb and asking a polite question. Might I have another cup of tea? So you're asking for another cup of tea, but you're not commanding. You're not simply requesting, please give me another cup of tea. You are asking a polite question. Might I have another cup of tea? So all these sentences will help you to or communicate in a very polite manner when you want to ask questions. Very important. Finally, one last I would like to take with the word would. Would you mind waiting for a few minutes? Would you mind waiting for a few minutes? So, all these verbs that you see, auxiliary verbs that you see over here, can be used to ask polite questions. Okay, let's get along with the next understanding about the kinds of sentences, which is very important. Let's discuss about exclamations now, having understood the polite questions. An exclamation can generally be turned into a statement. You may have done this before. A statement turning into an exclamation and vice versa. An exclamation turning into a statement. So let's put our hands on some exclamatory sentences which can be changed into a simple statement type of a sentence. An exclamation into a statement. Generally, this can be done. Let's take a few examples. How hot it is. Yes, it's really hot these days. How hot it is. Now, you are not asking a question over here. You are exclaiming something. You are expressing a surprise about the heat or experiencing the heat, how hot it is. Now the same exclamatory sentence or this exclamation can be changed into a simple statement by changing the order of the words. That is this. That is a verb and the other words in the sentence. So have a look. How do we do it? This was an exclamation. Which will now be changed into a statement, which can generally be done. How hot it is. I can write the very same statement in order to express just or declare something by saying and writing the word it is very hot. The word how hot will now be changed to very hot. We need an adverb over here to describe the heat. It is very hot. So how hot it is? We try to write this and make it into a statement by shuffling the words inside and writing it is very hot. You can see the word over here. Similarly, let's take a few more examples. The other one, what a noise you are making. What a noise you are making. Now, many a times it becomes very difficult for learners to change this into a statement type of a sentence. So it's very important to note the little things that you need to do in order to make it a statement. What a noise you are making. Concentrate on the words you are making. Okay? You are making, where you find your subject over here, someone who is doing the action, the doer of the action, which needs to come first. So we can write it to write a sentence. You are making. You are making. But you need to satisfy the words what a noise. For the word what a noise, we require certain suitable words. What could they mean? Means someone is trying to saying that you're making a lot of noise. When the words what a noise is written as an exclamation and you transform it into a statement, you got to have some suitable words in replacement of what a noise. So here the meaning is that you are making a lot of noise, and we can say, you can write like this, a great deal of noise. So let's write it down. You are making a great deal of noise. That is too much of noise, which can be rightfully written. Okay, have a look. Here we have ended with a full stop over here, which is very important. You are making a great deal of noise. Therefore, the exclamation has been changed to a statement. One more example. Taking the auxiliary verb may you soon be well. May you soon be well. Have a look at this. May you soon be well. So here you mean to say, by writing this, may you soon be well, an exclamation. But we can change it into a statement by writing someone is hoping that I should become well soon. So I hope you will soon be well. I hope you will soon be well. And the full stop at the end. Do not make a mistake by not putting any punctuation or writing the exclamation again, because we have now changed an exclamation into a statement. So a full stop is required over here. Let's take two more sentences before we get into the connected topic about the exclamation. would that my friend were here. Yes. And out of the blue sentence, would that my friend were here? How is that sentence? Yes, it is a good sentence. Would that my friend were here. When you say like this, would that my friend were here, what does it mean actually? We will see in the statement, which will make the meaning of this exclamatory sentence very clear. The exclamation, would that my friend were here. It means you're trying to express a desire or a wish. That is, I wish, I desire. So would that my friend were here. I wish my friend were here. So this is also an example of changing an exclamation into a statement. One more out of the blue unusual sentence which you may have not heard before. Oh, that I were. Oh, that I were a bird. Oh, that I were a bird. What does that mean? So again over here you're trying to express a desire or a wish that you were a bird. Very unusual. It is not very common to use these types of exclamations in communication. Well, it's only for the purpose of learning, but using this is not wrong, is correct. Would that my friend were here. I wish my friend were here. Oh, that I were a bird. I wish I were a bird. To change it into a statement. I wish, I desire, I were a bird. Okay, so you see over here. So with this we understood about the different exclamatory sentences changing into a statement, with two of them which were very unusual for you to learn, I think so. Okay, getting along with a connected topic to this, where if you see we've used the word what a, and so far we not come along with the sentence saying only what. So we are going to learn about the words what and what a, how to use them with regard to the singular and plural nouns. That is going to be our next upcoming learning topic. Exclamations with what a as a singular noun and what with a plural countable noun. Let's see about that. What a with regards to singular countable nouns, what a with is equal to singular nouns, and we are going to learn what and the exclamation mark in the sentence with plural and uncountable nouns. Countable, countables or countable nouns. Countables means uncountable nouns. So we are going to look into how to use what a, singular nouns, and what, just the word what, using plural uncountable nouns with regard to exclamations. That is going to be our next point of learning. Let's see a table of contents that I would like to put up. What a, have a look at these sentences. What a or what a pity, what a pity you can't come with us. If you carefully see this sentence, you will get to see with an exclamation mark over here, what a pity you come with us. What is being expressed over here? What is the noun over here? What a You can't come with us. Here the word pity, having pity on someone, is an abstract noun over here. Therefore, it is uncountable. You can't count an abstract noun. Therefore, we are using what a pity, what a pity, what is a singular noun. Okay, so what a pity, you can't come with us. We have used water with a singular noun. What a pity, you can't come with us. So here you can see used with a singular noun. Next you see what a nuisance, what a nuisance that child is. Again you see over here, okay, what a nuisance that child is. So here too you can see what a nuisance is being referred to, the child over here, a singular noun. Okay, what a nuisance. One more sentence followed by a singular noun. What a lovely sight. What a lovely sight. Then what a good idea, where you find idea as a singular noun. All these examples that you are just observing has the word what a before them, because they all are carrying a singular noun inside them. Now let us see a few examples about what, where you will find an abstract noun or a noun with a or a plural noun, where you will not be writing what a before that. Perhaps you will write just the word what. Use of the word what before an abstract noun or with plural nouns. It enables us to write like this: what childlike innocence. What childlike innocence. Here you see the uncountables or the plural. You can't say what a childlike innocence. You simply say what childlike innocence, where innocence presents an uncountable noun to us. What awful news. News always has the S inside it, and although written as an S looks like a plural, or it's always considered plural. You don't say what an awful news. Okay, news is always plural. It's written with an S, whether it is one news or many pieces of news. So what awful news. So here news becomes a plural. Therefore we don't say what a awful news or what an awful news. What awful news it is. Similarly, we can write what along with what along with what fun your new friend is. Have a look. What fun your new friend is. If I'm talking about fun, it's going to be an abstract element. You cannot count that. It's an uncountable thing. So what fun your new friend is. I don't say what a fun. What a fun would be wrong to say. Once again, what beautiful music, what beautiful music they are playing. So all the examples that you see over here have utilized the word what and not what a, unlike where we use in singular nouns to complete the sentence. So this is all about the usage of what a with a singular noun and what with plurals or abstract elements, abstract nouns. So with this, we conclude today's lecture. See you soon, the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.